Taking care of someone can be a labor of love with an emphasis on labor. And that labor can start to cause a lot of stress, and that stress shows up in a lot of different ways. Like, for instance, did you ever think or have you ever screamed at someone that you cared about? You're probably like, Or what about hit them? How about even feeling guilty for doing something nice for yourself, even though you're taking care of someone else? And you say, maybe I should just kind of spend a little bit more time with them. Those sorts of things. Well, that is what burnout is. Those are some of the signs of burnout. And it is very common. Over 60% of people say that they have experienced it. And the issue is because it shows up in so many different ways, people are not aware of it until it's too late. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what is caregiver burnout? What does it look like? Who is at risk? Because once we find out who is at risk and what is going on, we can also talk about how to prevent it. Thank you so much for joining me today and welcome. I'm Dr. Ashley Booth. I'm a board certified family medicine physician and I provide practical health tips and tools that you can use in your everyday life. I am also the owner of Healing Beyond the Stethoscope Primary Care located in Savannah, Georgia. Now, listen, if you haven't already done so, you can let me know where you're watching from, that sort of thing. Share, let other people know what's going on because a lot of people have been put in the caregiver role and you may not even know it. So we're going to talk about exactly what that is. So you share, let people know what is going on today. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. So, what exactly is a caregiver? And you know me, I have to go look it up to make sure I get the right definition and I'm not just making things up. So, it says that it is someone who provides physical or psychological care to someone. That could be a lot of people. We just celebrated Mother's Day. So, of course, it's mothers with children. It is children who are taking care of their parents. It's someone who's taking care of someone who has like an illness, like, say you had a surgery. So sometimes this caregiver role, it can be a long-term thing or it can be a short-term thing. So if someone had a surgery and you happen to take care of them, they have dementia, they're bedbound, like all of these different things. So caregiver, it fluctuates, it moves, and a lot of people can fall into this category. And when you become a caregiver, it can happen in like one or two ways. One, you willingly said, yes, I want to do that, and you planned for it. A lot of parents plan to have children, and so they say, I'm going to do this. Some people say, when my parents get older, I'm going to take care of them, those sorts of things. So you willingly say, I'm going to do it. Then sometimes it can show up unexpectedly. We have some unplanned pregnancies, right? We also have some parents who got ill before we thought they were going to get ill, or that picture just looks totally different. And so we aren't as prepared as we thought we were going to be for that whole situation. So no matter what, whether it is planned or not, it can still lead to some issues, and that issues can cause stress because what happens is a lot of times it's like, this is too many responsibilities, like this list is never ending. I have to feed them and I have to bathe them and I have to clothe them and then I have to take them to the store and then have to run these errands and da 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 da. So all of these things start to add up. You also feel like you have a lack of control. I used to be able to go to the store whenever I felt like it. I used to be able to take a nap whenever I wanted to, right? You used to be able to do all these things that you want to, but now you have no control over that because you have to answer to what they want you to do. And so that has kind of taken over your life. There is some role confusion. Like if you have suddenly stepped into a caregiver role, then you go from being a child to now taking care of a parent. So now that you are taking care of a parent, you're in that role, and it's like, well, how do I still be a child to them, but how do I also kind of be like this person that kind of helps them and tell them, okay, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to take your medicine, I need you to, you see what I'm saying? So you get this role confusion. You kind of figure out, okay, where do I fit in this? If you are a spouse, who's taking care of your spouse? Like, how do I continue to be your wife or your husband, but then I also now am taking care of you and asking you to do some things? That's where we start to get into it. And then there's expectations. Like a lot of people, when you walk into it, especially willingly, you think this is going to be a positive, beautiful experience, right? Especially parents. Parents say, oh, I'm going to have this sweet little old baby. But then it may not turn out the way that you thought. That baby probably cries more than you thought it would. This baby has a lot of colic. And you're like, I have tried to soothe this baby as much as I can, and it's still not working. Parents, those who have teenagers, you're like, listen, you seem really ungrateful. Like, I've done all the things. Like, I really feel like you should say thank you instead of, well, why you didn't do this or why you didn't do that. You didn't imagine parenthood looking that way. Or if you have a parent who needs some help, you like, listen, I'm just trying to help you out. I know that you need X, Y, and Z. So I thought that I would do this for you because this makes sense. And so I'm gonna help you. And then parents say, listen, I don't need you over here doing the things. I got this. When you know, in fact, they don't got this, right? So having to figure out like these expectations of these relationships, and they're not as positive as you thought that they would be. So then you're like, okay, what do I do? How do we shift? And that is what leads to burnout. That is what leads to burnout. And burnout is essentially physical, emotional, and mental exhausted. You're tired. I am tired. I have no more to give. Physically, I have nothing left to give. Emotionally, I don't. And mentally, I'm all tapped out. And when that happens, what it looks like is one of the things is irritability. If you're not getting any sleep, you're not getting any rest, you don't have any time for yourself. When we talked about kind of like that, those other responsibilities and roles and doing all the things and the list looks forever long, you get irritable. I just, everything gets on your nerves, right? That probably didn't used to, but now it just seems like everything has pressed a button. You have nothing left. It can show up as anger and frustration. So if someone says, I don't want your help, and they seem like they're not appreciative of the things that you're doing, it's like, okay, then you can get in your feelings a little bit. You can get angry. You can get frustrated. Like, I am doing the things, but somehow this doesn't seem like it's good enough for you, or whatever that may look like. It can look like depression. You can start withdrawing yourself from situations, start isolating yourself. I don't want to be around my friends. They say, hey, you want to go out to eat? Nope, I don't want to do that. Hey, you want to do blah, blah, blah? Nope, I don't want to do that. So you start isolating yourself from other people. You don't want to be with other people. You could change your appetite. I don't feel hungry, or I'm eating a lot more than I used to. That can happen. Lose interest in things that you like to do. You like to go shopping, you like to hang out, you like to watch TV, whatever those things that are of interest to you, like, I don't want to do that. That is depression. So that can start showing and manifesting itself when you have burnout. It can start showing up like that. And then it goes back to that guilt. Like I said, when you are feeling like, I can't leave this person because if I do, then this is going to happen. So you feel guilty for, taking a couple of hours for yourself to go and just do whatever it is that makes your heart desire. You say, oh, I can't do that. And that is really true for a lot of you first time parents. Don't want to be away from that sweet baby for even an hour, right? And so you feel guilty, but you need that time away. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because like I said, this is very common. These symptoms and what it's showing up like is very common. And it is showing up. They surveyed people, and over 60% say, yep, I've experienced that. The problem is you don't know that you experiencing it until somebody gives you a survey, because you don't realize that all these things are happening because you're trying to keep everything going. You're trying to do what you're supposed to do, plus what this person needs. You're trying to take care of all the things. And then unfortunately, it may all come crashing down. Now, let me tell you who's at risk, because the thing is, if we don't be careful and we don't realize, okay, am I that type of person that this can happen to, then we're not going to be able to do something about it. So, who is at risk is if you are someone who cares for others, like for your profession, doctors, nurses, a lot of people who care for people. Those are people who can end up with burnout because you're already giving a lot already, like emotionally and physically to other people. But if caring is your nature, you say, well, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but you care for other people, you're doing the things for other people all the time. You are at risk for this happening to you because you are so used to giving. If you don't have a support system, it's all on you. I am the main person who takes care of the things. I'm the person that they call to do all the things. I am. If you don't have anybody else that you can say, hey, can you pick up mom's medicine? Hey, can you take her to this appointment? Hey, can you do this? If you don't have any support, then this can happen to you. If you feel like you are the only person who can do it, right? Now, I know I'm coming for a lot of people and I'm coming for myself because I used to be one of those people. And now I'm like, okay, well, it may not get done exactly the way I wanted, but at least if they did some of it, I think I can be okay. But if you are a person who feels like I'm the only one who can do it because this is the only way that it's going to get done right, you are at risk of going into burnout, because if no one else can do it, that means that you can't say, hey, can you take care of this for me, and allow it to be done and move on, get something off your plate, so that way you'll have room to be able to do something else, right? So if you fall in any of those categories, hey, it is what it is. But now that we are aware, what can we do about it? One of the main things you can do is ask for help. For some reason, people think that asking for help is a weakness. It absolutely is not. It is one of the strongest things that you can do. Because when I talked about people hitting other people, people screaming at other people, doing all of these things because that is what's making the news. Now, I'm not saying that all these people are at burnout. Some of these people have some other issues going on, but that is what's happening. The majority of elder abuse, as far as physical abuse, financial abuse, any of those things, is happening with caregivers at the home, not in the nursing home. Nursing home makes news, but it's a lot of these other people who are with them every day in, day out, that this is happening to. And they're not recognizing it and they are so overwhelmed. So asking for help is actually one of the strongest things you can do. Where can you get help from? Family. If you have a sister, a brother, a cousin, whoever, let's start calling some people. Hey, I know that I have to go to work too on Friday. So somebody has to take off this Friday, right? Because I took off the last 3 to do X, Y, and Z. So then maybe now it's your turn. Like, we're gonna have to start calling some people in to do some things. Friends are like family. We have neighbors and stuff like that. A lot of times when some things happen very, especially very quickly, I've seen some tragic things happen, but I've seen community and family and friends all get together and they rally around. They say, okay, can we do a food train? I never heard of a food train until not too long ago. And I was like, oh, so different people volunteer and say, okay, I'll bring this on Monday. This person's going to bring it on Tuesday. And so then, but you got to start saying, okay, it's okay for these things to happen, whatever you want to do. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people want to help. A lot of people really do want to help. They're like, hey, I'm not doing anything. Hey, you have people who have retired and they're looking for somebody to help out every once in a while. So let them help. People want to feel like they are a part of something, and a part of doing something good. So let them help. You have home health. Look into that, see if you qualify for that. A private aid, if you are financially available and have that available to you, look into, can you use that? Last week I talked about the nursing home and rehabilitation facilities. You definitely can do that. And then you have adult daycares and your agency on aging. Those facilities and programs and organizations are out there to help you and say, hey, okay, this is somebody else who may be able to help you with this situation. The other thing is, take a break. Okay, so you've asked for help, and now that you've asked for help, you need to take a break, because you're like, oh my goodness, like, this is what's going on. Like, how are you supposed to get some rest if you, okay, so somebody says, okay, girl, I will come over and I will help you wash dishes. Well, while they are washing dishes, if you're telling them, okay, well, no, well, you need to put the dishes over here and then you need to use this and then you need to, if you're doing all that, then why did they come over there and help you? Like, you can give them, okay, this the load that I need to go in or whatever. Then you need to get somewhere and sit down, or go shopping and do the grocery shopping, or whatever it is you need to do, or just take a break and sit down, because you need that rest and rejuvenation. And the other way you can take a rest too is looking into respite options. And I talked about that. The insurance, like especially Medicare, may have some different options of respite care. And like I said, it's not for a long-term thing. It could be for a couple of days, but you might be able to say, I can get a lot done in those couple of days. So then they go somewhere. They could go, it's usually a nursing home or an in-house facility, They go, they watch them, they make sure they keep a close eye on them, and then you are able to do what you need to do for those days. So look into that respite care. And then the final thing is vent. Okay, you got to get it out. You have to talk it out. You have to let someone know what is going on with you. And the someone is, it could be a friend. That's perfectly fine, and finding somebody, but you really want to find a good support group. If you are someone who's taking care of someone who has like dementia or whatever, they have these support groups. In those support groups, yes, you're going to talk about your different things, but then someone may come up with a tip and say, yeah, when that happened with my mom, this is something that I did. They may also share some other resources that you may not be aware of. So then getting connected with them then helps to increase some more information that you may know. Talking to a licensed therapist also can help you figure out like what you need to do and how to process these emotions, how to get yourself centered back to who you are, helping you recognize some of those signs and say, okay, these are some triggering moments. Children who are taking care of parents, parents can do some things to trigger you. Children can do things like this. Dynamic parent child dynamic can be very tricky to navigate. So being able to talk to someone and say, okay, all right, that maybe this is not me, this is just a situation, and let me figure out how I can really process this and my emotions and all of that. And then of course, because I am a physician, I'm going to say talk to your doctor about it, because I may not be able to help you process like all of your emotion side of it, right? But I can know whether or not you are depressed. I can know if you are stressed. I can say, okay, this is what's happening and this is how it's showing up in your life, because stress can show up a lot of different ways. Like I talked about that frustration and all of that, but medically, it can cause your sugar levels to go up. Your diabetes can get out of control, or you can develop diabetes. You can have high blood pressure. All of these things can happen because this is starting to get away from you. And that's another thing that I see. A lot of people are taking care of a lot of people, and they are losing a lot of themselves. And then their health starts to suffer. And you cannot take care of someone well if you are not well. So at the end of the day, make sure that you find your person. If you are still in need of a primary care physician, then you are welcome to come and join us. We're still accepting new patients. You can visit us at our website, or you can give us a call. If you have a primary, then make sure that you make that appointment with them. Call them up. Say, hey, this is what's going on. You may not know what it is, but hey, my blood pressure is going up, or hey, this is what's happening. If that's what's happening, then you need to make that phone call so that way they can get to the root of what's going on, because your blood pressure just may be like a sign or a symptom of what's really going on, and the root of it could be the stress. So you want to make sure that you find your person. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care, and I'm wishing you much healing. Bye bye.